Whew. All right, folks. So I've been thinking about this video for weeks. I wrote stuff down. I thought maybe I should have it outlined so it's organized, and there was something about doing it that way that seemed disingenuous. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to hit play or record, and I don't know, I could edit it later. So I just saw this video by Matthew McConaughey, which I put on my Facebook, or at least I'm going to, and I was inspired by it. And there was a video that I wanted to make, and I kept second guessing myself, like, who am I to put a video like that out there, to share some thoughts that I had from my experiences. I mean, I'm over 50 years old. I'm 50 years old, January. And, I've had a lot of friends come to me for advice. And I think I'm pretty darn good at it for the most part. But I've had this thing that I wanted to share with people about parenting, about how to do the best for their kid. And so a bunch of things came together tonight. The Matthew McConaughey video. I found this book that I had written, The UFO, when I was 10. This is an important piece of the puzzle. But I also want you to think about the phrase that I heard for years ago. Give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Let's say person. Give a person a fish, they eat for a day. Teach a person how to fish, and they eat for the rest of their lives. When it comes to parenting your children, okay, are you providing your children with the fish, or are you teaching them how to fish? And I'm speaking about a very specific thing. I see a lot of parents define, this is not judgment, by the way, don't feel judged, just this is something for us all to think about. I think about parents who say, I provide for my children, I sent them to the best schools, I pay for their tuition, I pay for their car insurance, I give them every opportunity I didn't have, or I give them every opportunity I had. And sometimes it's done out of love, sometimes it's done out of manipulation, frankly. Parents pay for their kids and then tell them what they should be doing with their lives. But let's just go with the premise that it's done out of love, because I think that most parents do love their children and are trying to do the best by them. My dad was a provider. That was his thing. And that's what he would tell me. I mean, he told me he loved me. But he made me feel as though he was sacrificing so much for me that it made me feel a little badly for him. Like, I work 14 and 15 hours a day. Why do I do that? To make sure you go to the best school, to have opportunities I didn't have. But he didn't have these opportunities, right? And I think that made him a better man, because he came to this country not speaking the language and came to own his own business and employed people in this country and helped them put food on their table, and they helped him as well to be successful. But in trying to provide everything for your children, you sometimes are not teaching them how to fish, okay? If I told you, how are you going to take care of your children when they're born? I think the first thought that most people have is financial. Will they put a roof over their head? Will the bills be paid? It's always about money. But let's take money out of the picture, okay? And to a certain degree, a traditional education out of the picture, because that's part of money, going to a good college and providing opportunities for yourself. What do you do on a daily basis to build your child's sense of self? To build your child's self-esteem? To make them feel that mistakes are okay to make, and not in that cliche pop psychology type of way. You know, I went to medical school. I got into medical school. I got into Franklin and Marshall, which was one of the top schools for pre-med. I still felt stupid. I didn't feel good enough to be there. And I did well. I made Dean's List. I got into medical school. That's no easy feat. I just thought it was a fluke. Plus, I didn't even want to be a doctor, and yet I made it into medical school. It took me years of soul searching and the support of some really core friends to start to shed that feeling that I had. And God rest his soul, my dad did a number on me feeling like he loved me, but I fell short in so many ways. You know, especially when I dropped out of medical school. I want to bring this book up now. It's called The UFO. I wrote this when I was 10 years old. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. I might just post it. But I definitely see some intelligence and creativity and hopefulness in this book. So the UFO, now for those of you who know me, my dad had a pizza shop, right? So the UFO was written and illustrated by Pete Patricios, because my name was Pete, not Peter. The copyright is 1980, so I was 10 years old, by Peter Patricios. Publishing company, Alpha Pizza House, which was the name of my dad's pizzeria, the UFO. This is a bound book. Like, I mean, the teachers had us. The assignment was to make a book and write a story about anything you want. This is a good exercise to do with your kids. See what they come up with. I was shocked when I found this and read it. So it goes, one night while I was getting ready for bed, a bright light flashed in the sky. It must be a star. I looked again. It's moving. Must be a plane. Wait, it's going too fast to be a plane. I know, it's a shooting star. Then I got in bed. All right? Just going to read you 3 pages. I heard a humming sound in the window. It got louder and louder. Could it be a UFO? Nah. It stopped. Whatever it was, it's gone now. Then a screech came from the window. Oh my God, a UFO. Right? Even at a young age, I was dramatic. I was scared. 2 green men with 5 arms came out. I ran to get out of my room when one man shot a laser beam at the door. The door shut and I could not open it. Hope I'm holding that the right distance. Here's the kicker. Come with us, they said. Well, why did you pick me? I asked. I can't do anything right. I'm stupid. They replied, only because you have hard work to do. Come and have a simple life of work. I agreed. Now, I didn't know I felt that way about myself. This isn't some, at the age of 10, I wasn't making up some fiction story, you know, I wasn't some Stephen King. That's how I felt about myself, so it made its way to the pages of this book. I worked all the time in the shop, and I was always told I wasn't doing the right job. Anything I did, whether it be a pizza, it would get adjusted, it would get fixed. You know, a pizza, like the pepperoni wasn't in the right spot. Like, really, come on. But I tried so desperately. If they knew what was in my head when I was making that pizza, just this internal thought process of, I'm going to get it this time, I'm going to get it this time. They're just going to put it in the oven without making any adjustments to it. Or being told, why can't I be like that person? You know, that person's going to law school. That person works on the grill, which was the hardest station. That person does. And so I had a roof over my head. We, all 3 the children had cars. George went to private school. I eventually went to private school. All of it was paid for, though I paid for medical school. By then I'd caught on that I didn't want to feel this way about myself. I didn't want to feel guilty. Because what was happening was we were provided for, but there was this sense of, you're not the man that I am. You know, my dad didn't mean to send that message. And you're not the man that person over there is. There's a specific name, but I don't want to embarrass that person, who he wanted me to be like. And so that is what I carried through. So no matter what I did, no matter what success I had, there was always this sense that I had fooled someone, that they were going to see that that they had made a mistake. I always not undermined, but underappreciated my intelligence. I would avoid social situations so I wouldn't have conversations with people so that they wouldn't realize how stupid I was. That's how I felt up through my 20s. And the thing that made me feel and start to feel better about myself was close friends who I opened up to about my feelings. MC, Jackie, there's a lot of you out there. The love, the hugs. You know who had my back the whole time? My mom. Always told me I was doing a great job. Always told me I was the best at whatever I did. Any film she sees, I should be getting an Academy Award. And she's not just blowing smoke up my ass, she believes it. She believes I'm that good. And I am a good actor. Not as good as she sees. But I love that. I love that she sees one of the best actors she's ever seen, and she lets me know. But my father had undermined her in the process of what he was doing to me and to my brothers, inadvertently, because he was putting her down too. She didn't keep the house as neat as he liked. She didn't cook as well. Well, he was a chef, so come on. And so I devalued her opinion when it came to my self-esteem. So the one person that held that key was my father. Oh, and his aunt, my Aunt Hope, who I loved. But she was the same way. And I know it's because that's the way they grew up. Their father did that to them. Their father made them feel that they didn't measure up, so they worked hard at that acceptance. It never came for me. It never, ever came. You know, unfortunately, my father passed before I was old enough and not afraid enough to have a discussion with him about these feelings that I had. But when I told him I was going to pursue acting, he said that I blackened his heart. And then there were times when he didn't notice I was looking through the door of the dining room through the crack, and I would see him talking to people and pointing to the TV and saying, yeah, one day you're going to see my son on TV. Yeah, big Hollywood movie star. I blackened his heart. So, this is not a woe is me story. What do you do to build your child's self-esteem? Because that's what's going to carry him through in life, or her. That's what's going to carry your child through and make them take risks and give them that sense of security that they can make a decision, and it could be wrong. That's fine. I've made a ton of wrong decisions in my life, but I made a ton of right ones too. And anything I set my mind to, I achieved. But it took me years to feel I deserved it. It took me years to feel that, and forget about asking for help, because I didn't want anyone to take credit for any of my successes. It was bad enough my dad was taking credit for, paying for everything. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to admit when you don't know something, because I've gained a lot from being the person who's not afraid to say, I don't know what that is, or I've never heard of that. These are things that I sort of stumbled through life and caught on to. But I guarantee you, work a few less hours and spend time with your child. Reading a book. If you don't have these life lessons in your mind, look them up. A lot of the stuff I found through conversation, through videos on YouTube, get inspired. Put in a search and say, how do I help my child's self-esteem? How do I help my child feel great about themselves? Because there's plenty of shit out there that's going to make them feel terrible. And as a parent or as a caregiver to a child, man, you don't know. You have them in their formidable years. Ones, twos, threes, fours. Those years are when we start to form an opinion about who we are. I'm stupid. I can't do anything right. Why do you want me? Listen. When I got to their planet, they showed me the work I would be doing. It was all about work, right? Because that's what our generation was about. But I even made mistakes there. What will we do with you? One said, let's take him back. And they did. This is me getting back on the UFO. When we were in orbit, I touched a button that said danger. It was an accident. I mean, come on. The button says danger. Why did I push it? Because I'm stupid, according to this book. We lost altitude. The Martians and I bailed out. The ship sunk, and the Martians drowned. They died. I swam to a little island there. Now, here's at least the part of me that was hopeful. I sat down and I looked at the sun. I was there at least a week. I ate coconuts and drank coconut milk. It was fun. Isolated. By myself. It was fun. It's the first time in this book that the drama ends and there's something. And I find this very interesting too. Every single page has me with this red and blue, shirt, red and blue shirt, red and blue shirt. Completely not colored. I don't know if that was subconscious or what. No color for in that transition where it was fun. Maybe I just saw myself as bearing it all. That was the insight into me. That alone, with no one to tell me what to do, was when it was the most fun. By the 5th day, a small plane flew close by. I yelled help. The plane turned back and left. I gave up hope to be saved. I heard a helicopter coming. I was saved. They took me home. The end. Well, I knew how to build drama, First it was a star, then it was a plane, then it was the UFO. Then there was a hum, then there wasn't, then they were there. I love my father. I love everything that he did. And again, I know that he did the best he could with the tools that he had. But fortify yourself with tools. Yes, providing for your children is important. But what's more important is teaching them how to provide for themselves. Teaching them how to stand up for themselves. Teaching them to believe in themselves. Because what you say to your kid is going to be a tape player that sits in the back of their head here, and it plays every day. Every time you call them stupid, every time you call them worthless. I don't care what they do that pisses you off. If you truly love your child and you want them to be successful and you want them to be self-actualized, you don't want them to go through life getting pushed around by people. And I'm not just talking about bullies on the playground. I'm talking about people in life. The hateful people who would put you down to build themselves up. Teach them to get away from people like that. You don't know how many people I friended that were like that to me. Because it was familiar. If they put me down or made me feel shitty about myself, that sensation was familiar in my heart and in my body. And then it was that person I was trying to prove my self-worth to by being an excellent friend despite their behavior. It was always someone telling me, why are you friends with that person? They're so rotten. And I would say, oh, well, I just want to prove to them that there are good people in the world. Who fucking cares, man? This person's being an asshole to me, and I'm trying to prove to them that I'm a worthy friend. I stopped that shit right quick. Now people get one chance. One chance. Because I think these people, these predators, these manipulators can see it on you. And so I attract that type often. But boy, do they get surprised now. One mistake, and you're out. It just happened recently. One mistake, and you're out. I don't give you a second chance to fuck me up or fuck up my family. Say something mean to my mom. Sorry about the F-bombs. Maybe they'll bleep them out. Maybe I should. I don't know if I'm gonna. Look, I love you guys. I thought, is this worth putting out there? I'll tell you what, if one parent listens to this and one parent decides, I'm gonna look into how to build my child's self-esteem and not just provide financially for them, then fine. I love it that kid's gonna get help. You're going to make a difference in their lives. You're going to make a difference in the way they respond to you and in the actions they take. Ask them about their day. Ask them about their thoughts on something. Are you trying to solve something at home? Are you trying to fix the sink? Ask their opinion about stuff. Show them how to do it. Make them resourceful. Even if a plumber's coming over to do it, ask the plumber to show them a few things that are going on in there. Children are like sponges. They love to learn. I so appreciate my mom today. I tell her how much I love her all the time, because out of everybody in my life, she was the one who had the secret. You know, she had gotten a job, and it was a small stipend. It was almost like volunteer work at this place called Bright Spaces, and it was a place that was reintegrating children with their parents who had been on drugs or been incarcerated and were coming out. And so there were these places, these setups in schools called Bright Spaces. Do you know that my mom made the Philadelphia Inquirer, and why? Because here she was, had a high school diploma, that was it. You know, not that that's a big deal, I'm just saying, she didn't have a master's degree in sociology or early childhood education, and the managers of that program started sending their teachers or whatever, the monitors of the classroom, to sit in on my mom's classroom to see what she did that was getting through to these families. She loved them. She complimented them. She gave them projects that she would do something. Like she'd make a butterfly out of a piece of construction paper. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like she does now with the hats out of recycled plastic. She makes these gorgeous hats. But she would encourage these kids to the point where they were sending these grad students who had either a master's or a bachelor's of arts to her classroom to learn from her. And I used to underestimate her value. I loved her. I knew she loved me. But if she told me I was smart, it didn't matter. Any kind of encouragement I got from her, I devalued it. But not today. And every day I'm thankful for another day I have with her, because she's a rare gift, not just to me, but to other people. I've seen her do it to people on Facebook, make people feel good about themselves. That's a gift. Make your children feel good about themselves. Don't just put food on the table. Help them, let them help make the food. Read a book together. Ask them their opinions about the story. Get them thinking. Tell them how smart they are. Tell them how sharp they're dressed. How creative their choices are. Build them up, because the world's going to try and beat them down. Love you guys.